How you feel about that situation with Brenda Depa? Because I know you was very vocal about that, and you feel like he shouldn't go to prison for that, right?
Yes, sir. Brendan Depa should not go to jail. Yes, he's 6'6" tall. Yes, he's 270 pounds. Yes, he beat his teacher's aide. I saw the video. It was horrific. I'm sorry that woman was beat like that. No woman should ever be attacked like that. I'm sorry for her. I'm sorry for her family. However, Brendan is a victim. He's not the criminal. The criminal is the school district. The criminal is the principal. The criminal is the State Department of Education. The criminal is his IEP team. The criminal is the mental health system of Palm Coast, Florida. That's the criminal. And let me tell you what I mean. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why Brendan should not go to jail. Number 1, he's diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and ADHD. Why was he in that school to begin with? The school was not able to take care of that boy. They couldn't educate him. They couldn't meet his needs. He had no business being in the school. The school failed Brendan, and that's why the teacher got attacked. That's number 1. Number 2, his IEP, which is the special education plan, says that he can become violent if you snatch anything out of his hands, that no teacher should at any time snatch anything out of his hands. The teacher's aide is required to read the IEP in order to service him. Why in the hell did she snatch the game out of the boy's hands when his IEP says to never do that? Number 2. Number 3, when a child has a violent tendencies, behavioral problems, and they're in special ed, the law says they must have a 1-to-1 aide, somebody with them at all times to keep them out of conflict. Why he didn't have no aide? I'm gonna give you the next one. He was taking 6 drugs, 6 antipsychotic mood stabilizer drugs. You know why he attacked that woman? Because he was under the influence of them damn drugs. The drugs caused the attack. He was outside of his mind at the time. That's why she got attacked. Next point. I believe Brendan is intellectually disabled. I haven't seen any evidence of an IQ score. The judge ruled that he is competent to stand trial. And I'm not sure I agree with that because I haven't seen any psychological evaluation that says his intellectual functioning and cognitive functioning, psychological and mental functioning is in the normal range. And guess what? How can it be in the normal range if he's taking 6 drugs every day? How can it be in the normal range if his therapist says he has the emotional functioning of a 4 to 6-year-old? This is the therapist. If he got emotional functioning of a 4 to 6-year-old, how can he be competent to stand trial? Next point. He was 17 years old when the incident happened, February 21st, 2023, the day Malcolm X died. Charged as a juvenile. They upgraded it to adult to appease the white people in Florida. Who decided to upgrade this charge from this mentally disabled boy who should have never been in that school, psychiatrically over-medicated? Who decided to reclassify him as a child, from a child to an adult? Next point, he was a foster kid, 2 white foster parents from birth. They homeschooled him, never got him the help that he needed. Do you know that they said he was called racial slurs by the white kids in the neighborhood? They tried to make him drink their urine. They used to rub balls on their testicles and throw it at him, that he had to escape bullying. Do you see why he attacked the woman? He was so used to being picked on by white people in that neighborhood that he snapped off. And then his lawyer convinced him to take a plea deal. Why would you convince this boy to take a plea deal that could put him in jail for 30 years and the lawyer didn't have an agreement with the prosecutor as to how many years they would sentence him before he convinced this innocent child to take a plea deal? This boy is being railroaded. He's like the modern day Emmit Till without the physical lynching, my brother. He might go to jail until he's 50 years old. Let me say this on this point, and I'm going to end it. Do you remember AJ, the sister AJ Owens, who was shot by the older white woman through the door in Florida? They got into a little scuffle. The white woman threatened her kids. I think she took the iPad or the skates. The young single black mom went to the white woman's house to get her son's skates or iPad back, and the white woman shot her through a locked metal door. She killed her. This was earlier this year. The white woman was charged with manslaughter with a weapon. She can get as low as 10 and a half years and as much as 30 years. Brendan, for beating up the teacher's aide, can get 30 years. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe attacking your teacher's aide when you were not being given the proper supports in the first place, and when she violated your IEP and you were overly medicated and psychologically traumatized, do you believe attacking a teacher is the same as shooting and killing a mother? Are those equal? Punching a teacher and killing somebody, are those equal? And if they are not equal, why can Brendan go to jail for 30 years and the white woman who killed somebody can get out in 10 and a half years?
It's not equal at all. But to go back to what you were saying, if it's on an IEP, not to snatch anything from him, and you do that, I mean, off of that alone, he should get off.
Thank you. The paperwork says don't snatch nothing out of his hand. I'm going to go a step further. When you read the job description for a teacher assistant, it doesn't say anything about disciplining children. It doesn't say anything about physically accosting children. It doesn't say anything about trying to enforce your will on children. The job description for a teacher's aide in Florida is helping the teacher prepare and implement lessons and monitoring lessons and activities. That's the job description. It has nothing to do with discipline. So why did this 57-year-old white woman, 57, approach a 17-year-old? You're 40 years older than him. He's 6'6", 270 pounds with mental issues, and you're going to snatch a video game out of his hand when the IEP says never do that. Do you believe that boy should go to jail for 30 years?
He shouldn't go to jail at all.
He shouldn't go to jail at all.
Nothing should happen to him at all, really.
Exactly. He should be going where? Mental health hospital. Mental health hospital. That's where they send white folks. But because he's black, they're going to try to lynch him and send him to jail. And you know what's sad? When he goes to jail, you know who he going to be around in an adult prison? Killers, rapists, murderers. He's going to end up killing somebody. He's 6'6", 270. He's going to end up killing somebody in there, or God forbid, getting hurt himself. The worst thing you can do, and he got mental issues, and you're going to put him in a maximum security prison with hardcore lifers, and he's only a boy? This is what Florida is all about. And then people want to know why I said I'm not voting in the next presidential election. What am I voting for? What is Donald Trump offering black people? What is Joe Biden offering black people? They're not offering black people nothing. No solutions for miseducation, no solutions for mass incarceration, no solutions for gentrification, no solutions for economic apartheid. They don't have no solutions for black people. You sending money to Israel, you're sending money to Palestine, you gave money to Ukraine, you brought you brought who did they bring over here? The Ukrainians you brought over here. You also brought some other Arabic people over here. You got the migrants coming in, trying to take over Chicago and New York, displacing black people. And all you give us is a Juneteenth cookout and the 50th anniversary of hip hop cookout. Do you realize how disrespectful that was? Joe Biden had a Juneteenth cookout in front of the White House, and then Kamala Harris came right back and had a 50 years of hip-hop cookout. I don't want no damn cookout. Where is my anti-black hate bill? Where is my improved schools bill? Why hasn't the U.S. Congress passed the George Floyd police reform bill? Did you know the George Floyd police reform bill still hasn't been passed? Still hasn't been passed. But you having cookouts, but you taking care of Chinese, taking care of Latinos, taking care of migrants, taking care of LGBT. I didn't see no LGBT on the slave ships. I didn't see no Ukrainians on the slave ships. I didn't see no Asians on the slave ships. I didn't see no migrants on the slave ships. Last time I checked, black people are the only people in America who came here as imports. Everybody else came here as immigrants. We are not the same. And this country isn't doing anything for black people, in my opinion, that would warrant me going to the polls, casting a vote for either side.
How big is that story? That should be out there, man.
It should be out there. I'm trying to get it out there. I did a live on it last night on my Instagram. I'm planning on going to the sentencing January 31st. He has $1 million bond. I think that means he has to pay $100,000. We might try to raise money, $100,000 to get that boy out of jail. Well, the sentencing is coming up quick anyway, so still, though, I would rather him be home, because if he's about to go to jail for half of his life, he won't get out till he almost 50 if he gets the max. Now, the judge can give him as little as probation or as much as 30. Now, you and I both know that's Florida, Governor DeSantis. That's Governor DeSantis territory, the same guy who don't want black history in the schools. So I think we all know that he's not going to get probation. That black boy is going into an adult prison with all those mental health issues. You want to talk about school to prison pipeline? And people wonder why I go so hard on school to prison pipeline? He's a living example of what happens when you put black boys in schools run by white folks.